welcome back to the channel. And if you're new to the show, welcome for you as well. So, this is Kartika. I have an amazing guest today, Daniel, with me, and I found him on Instagram. He has some amazing recipes. My mouth was watering when I looked at them. And he has been raw vegan for around 17 years now. And I wanted to get him to you guys to share his experiences of being a raw vegan for so many years. He has an amazing energy. Welcome, Daniel, to the show. Thank you so much for coming in. And would you just like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, my name is Dan McKinnon, and I've been vegan for a little under 20 years, maybe 20 years, and raw vegan for 17 years. And thank you very much for having me on. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how did you start this journey of veganism and raw veganism?
So I think I was around 22 years old, and a lot of my friends were vegan at the time. And a lot of the music that I listened to was pro-vegan, and I think I just kind of got into it from the music that I listen to and the friends that I hang around. That was basically how I got into it.
Wow.
Friends and reading books and listening to music.
Yeah.
So
So your motivation was it animals? Was it health? Like how did you?
yeah, it was more animals and environment.
Yeah.
So it was definitely an animal thing, and just kind of having friends share that philosophy with me. And I've always loved nature and loved natural things. So
Yeah.
anything nature and growing your own food orientated, I've always loved. So
Wow. Yeah.
um, yeah,
Amazing. So actually for me, I also turned vegan because of my friend, and that was 7 years before. And even now there are like so few people around me, like, who are vegans or even who are introduced to the concept of
yeah,
veganism, especially like in small towns. So I'm like really surprised that you had friends who were already, vegan. So like you far ahead of time to it. Like 20 years of like being a vegan is like really, I think you started like very in the beginning when the movement was not so strong as well. So
yeah,
really
it's
great.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you were just telling me the story of how you turned into a raw vegan. So would you like to share it with the audience as well?
Yeah, well, I've been vegan for a couple of years, and my wisdom teeth were coming in, so they were kind of getting infected. And I was on a little trip to another city for a couple of days. So I didn't want to eat any sugar because the sugar was really hurting my wisdom tooth. So I went to a raw restaurant because they didn't use any sugar. I called a friend up and he had recommended this little raw vegan place. So I ate raw vegan there for 5 or 6 days in a row. And not only did the pain in my wisdom tooth go away, but I felt amazing, like completely amazing. And I'd already been vegan for a couple of years, and I didn't think you could feel better than just vegan and cooked food or whatever. But after doing like a week of raw food, I just felt so good. I looked in the mirror the next day and my eyes were glowing and shining. I was full
Yeah.
of energy and just happy, like much much happier. And I was
Yeah.
already noticing a huge improvement from just being vegan for a couple of years. So that was really powerful. And it's been a really powerful experience just from the beginning of becoming vegan to, the 3 years that I was vegan, 3 or 4 years or whatever. And up until discovering raw food, it's just been a slow progression of just health and happiness and joy. And yeah, it's been
Wow.
really, really good. Very positive experience in my life.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So did you like did you find raw veganism and then just like went into it, never stopped, or were there like phases where cravings came back in and it was difficult?
Yeah.
What about the detox? Like, how was the journey?
Yeah, well, so I ate at that restaurant, and then when I got back to the city that I lived in, um, I was so excited about it. My friends had eaten at that restaurant too, so they're like, "Oh yeah, it's awesome. We got to do this." And we have sort of studied and learned a bit about the philosophy of raw food and how and why it's better for your body and why you feel so good. And then we got a recipe book, or I think I had looked on YouTube for a few recipes, and um, my friend got this recipe book. I forget what it was called, but it was by this guy named Giuliano. I think he's
Uh-huh.
like he had a restaurant in California, but it was the Giuliano book. I forget what the exact title was, but
Uh-huh.
we just started doing recipes out of it and
Wow.
learning other raw food recipes, and yeah, it was actually really fun. Already pretty stoked on vegan food, or just eating vegan and eating as natural as possible too, right? um
Yes.
and just getting as close to nature, that is just appealing. That it's what's not
Yeah.
appealing about raw food, right? It's so exciting. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was pretty much how I got into it. But I didn't dive full into it. I wasn't fully 100% raw. Neither
Yeah.
me or any of my group of friends really were. We were just kind of raw curious and getting into
Yeah.
raw food. So it was a great part of the journey, you know. And I could definitely feel like the acceleration in health and just energy and vitality, the more raw foods that I put into my diet. So,
Yes.
but I had already had that 1 week of full raw, and that felt so good. So I already knew that I'd feel so good if I was to eat
Yeah.
basically only raw food.
Yeah.
But I didn't go full raw right away because I didn't want to just force myself to do it and then not know a bunch of recipes that I'm gonna like, that I'm gonna, actually stick to and enjoy. So I started
Yes.
learning bit by bit over the next couple of years,
Yes.
mostly through doing potlucks with friends. So there was some really nice groups of friends that I had met just at grocery stores, and various things like maybe potluck. But we started doing potlucks, really good, nice big potlucks, and every week we just learn a new recipe, and that went on for a couple of years. And yeah, I just got really into it and started making my own things and putting my own spin on it, and it's always kind of been a fun thing for me. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, you got some amazing recipes that I'm gonna link down for everyone to like, reach out to you if they want to get your products, or just like get to know more about you as well as the work that you're doing with your amazing food. I would love to eat it
Awesome.
someday. Probably. Yeah. Amazing. So, do you still have friends who are raw vegans, or were you the only one who went ahead and like got
Um,
stuck with it?
my friend Trav, he was raw for about 7 years, and he started incorporating a bit of cooked food, like always vegan. And now he's
Yeah.
back eating raw, like pretty much all the time. Most of the time, his daughters eat a little bit of cooked food, but mostly raw.
Nice.
So I've got him. He's one of my raw friends and one of my longtime vegan friends.
Yeah.
Um, in Calgary, I have two friends, my friend Diana and my friend Edgar. They're both raw vegans. I don't really see them very much anymore, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there's them. I'm trying to think who's all raw vegan. I've met raw vegans from Saskatchewan. My friend Chris Kendall, he grows vegan, so that's just 5 hours east of us. So
Awesome. So you got like a
but
little
yeah, I don't,
community.
to be honest, yeah, more. I have more vegan friends in Calgary. In Banff, I think, trying to think who's vegan. I'm sure I've got a few vegan friends in town here.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, sure. So you were mentioning that your eyes like started like glowing, and then I know that the color of the eyes
Yeah,
also.
you can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah,
for
it's
you,
amazing,
did
isn't
you
it? Yeah.
did your color also change, or was it just that they became clear and bright?
It was more the white part of it that changed, I think, and
Yes.
maybe brighter in general.
Yeah.
It's definitely, there's some sort of life force that comes out of your eyes when you become raw for, I think, even 24 hours, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
Basically, for me, when I noticed it was that when I ate the raw meal, woke up, looked in the mirror, and I was just like, oh my God. And then one of my friends was saying, like, oh yeah, your people's eyes are known to get super bright and healthy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's such a sign. But I was
Yes.
lucky because I was at the restaurant and I was like, well, I can eat out wherever I want in the city that I'm visiting or whatever. So I might as well just eat at the raw food place. There's a few raw food places up that street actually. I think there was
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 raw places. Was the only place that I think was 100% raw. So
Okay.
I ate there mostly, but it was just nice having like, all the different, you know, all these different menu options and
Yeah.
ordering like big, large amounts of whatever I wanted. And it was also a produce store too. So it was a
Wow.
produce store and fruits and vegetable store, and they had a little raw cafe. So it was a beautiful little
Amazing.
place. Yeah.
Really amazing. Yeah. So what do you eat in a day these days? Like, how's your food like?
Right now, yeah, lately I eat a lot of fruit. I do think fruit just digests so well, you absorb it so well. And especially lately, I've been eating even more fruit than I did maybe say 2 years ago, and probably a lot more fruit than I ate 4 years ago. And
Wow.
yeah, but so basically I eat mostly fruit all day long. I'll eat like easily 10 bananas, some of it in smoothies, a lot of it with like a lot of it is date banana smoothies, and I'll just eat the bananas. Um, Before that, actually, when I wake up, I eat maybe 9 or 10 kiwis, because kiwis are really cheap here right now. I get good organic kiwis. Um, and then I'll just snack on various whatever fruit, whatever's around that I can afford that's organic. And I eat mostly organic. Since I've been living in this town the past 4 years, there's been some non-organic stuff that's snuck in, but there's not much of a selection here. So I can basically get organic grapes. I can get most of my vegetables organic. But yeah, but to basically go back and answer your question, I'd say I eat almost all fruit. Right now, I'm not doing any nuts and seeds. I used to do some nuts and seeds, but as of almost a year, I think it's been, I haven't been eating really any nuts and seeds. I've been doing chia seed, I do, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's a seed, but it's super, super easy on your digestion. So
Yeah.
it's a good one. Um, but in the evening, I usually make myself like a really nice, big, like satisfying meal. Um, lately, well, I mean, right now, for instance, I have cornbread that's dehydrating in my dehydrator. So I'm basically not really gonna put too much thought into my meal tonight. I'm just throwing together a bunch of zucchini noodles, and I've made a
Nice.
sriracha sauce. Sriracha,
Yeah.
like yeah. Okay, yeah. So I made some of that, and I'm basically gonna do sriracha noodles on cornbread with
Wow.
avocado.
Oh.
And, you know, but I'm just gonna
Wow.
basically throw it on because I'm super hungry and I know the sriracha tastes good. But
Nice.
um, but yeah, I'll usually make like a giant salad, like a really, really big salad. Um, with tomato, sometimes pepper, sometimes not. But lately I've been doing the zoodles with my sriracha, it's a really thick like date and chili paste sauce
Wow.
basically, and I've been putting spices in it and dumping it all over my noodles, putting bananas and all kinds of diced tomatoes and avocados. It's so good. But
Yeah.
I eat lots of it too. And it's actually basically all a fruit meal because zucchini is a fruit,
Yeah.
avocado is a fruit, tomato is a fruit. The only things that
Yes.
aren't really fruits are the spices, the
Yeah.
clove and the allspice I've been putting in, and um,
You
cumin.
use do you use salt?
A little bit. I don't
Okay.
like completely cut salt out. I try to put less than a quarter teaspoon a day because
Okay.
a quarter teaspoon's the threshold level of
Yeah.
where it starts to kind of affect you and
Okay.
not be quite as healthy in studies that I've been
Yeah.
shown anyways. And I
Yeah.
tend to
Yes.
believe the people who do eat less salt and that low
Yes.
sodium is a good thing. So I try not to put, but in all of my recipes, I always put salt as an option. So you don't
Yes.
really need to put you don't need to put any salt in any of my recipes.
Wow.
And tried to put like next to none or none in my recipes, but just depending on how I feel. But I definitely try not to go over a quarter teaspoon in a day because
That's amazing.
it's not so good. My friend did a video where he went completely salt free, or he is a salt free raw vegan, and he was eating certain amounts of salt before he went to bed, and showing how puffy his eyes got the next
Wow.
morning. So yeah, so the
Yeah.
next morning he wakes up and his eyes are all like puffed out. He's like, yeah, that was a little more than a quarter teaspoon. And I was just like, wow.
Wow.
And I think
Yeah.
I've noticed that too. Before I really knew, see, I've always known when I first became raw vegan, people had told me like not to put too much salt in my food,
Yes.
and that you can taste things better
Yes.
um, when you don't have salt. You're actually tasting, when you taste a tomato, like a really nice variety of tomato, and you get the kind of salty flavors, but those really nice other tones that come with the flavor of the tomato.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah,
Certainly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I've
amazing.
seen. I felt that my taste buds have like improved so much since I became raw vegan, and also when I
Yeah.
left salt. And it's amazing that you're conscious about like your salt, intakes. Though I really think that like even if like people are eating salt and they're like majorly, consuming good food, that's also amazing. So,
Mm.
like people are on like different levels and journeys, and It's great. So you were also mentioning that you left uh, seeds and nuts mostly in the last 1 year. Why did you
It's
like
been
do that?
mostly in the past year. I used minimal when I first became
Yeah,
raw because
yeah,
the same people who told me not to put too much salt in my food,
yeah,
were also saying, oh yeah, you shouldn't eat too many nuts and seeds. And that kind of made sense. And I think I
yeah,
did really well at that for the first couple of years and the first 5 and 6 years. And I think at a certain point, I started using like a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and maybe too many desserts, and sometimes cutting corners too, and just being like, well, I don't want to go to like eating cooked food, so I'll just not soak all these nuts and seeds and make some sort of like, like big nut burger or whatever that's maybe
yeah,
not as healthy. So I think for a while I started to use too many nuts and seeds, and I would coincidentally was consuming like too much yerba mate
yeah,
and cacao and certain stimulants like that. So I think that just too many stimulants and too many nuts and seeds I stopped feeling as good and as much energy. And then I like just completely cut out all the nuts and seeds
yeah.
and started
Yeah.
drinking caffeine, which was only yerba mate, which is, do you know what yerba mate is? It's from South America.
No,
It's basically
I
like
don't
a
know.
tea that's kind of like a stimulant. And yeah, it's basically me drinking too much caffeine and too many eating too many nuts and seeds for a while, I think. I mean, it
Okay.
didn't really ever cause me too many problems, but I noticed
Yeah,
when I started eating way more simple again and went away from that, I started noticing kind of the energy pick back up again, and feeling good and like normal, kind of like back like I felt when I originally went raw, and noticed how good I felt to begin with. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, lately in the past year, it's been like basically no nuts and seeds and a lot more simple meals. I've been trying to make them kind of look really nice and tasty and appealing and keep the texture and all that. The
Yeah.
only thing really fatty that I'm using is coconut cream and some like coconut solids and things like that, but no actual nuts and things like that. So trying to make it
Pretty
taste
good.
as good as I can and still look really nice. But
Yeah,
actually, at the
yeah,
moment, I'm just trying to make more sort of fruitarian-ish kind of dishes with the
wow.
savory culinary fruits, I guess they call them, with
Mm.
tomatoes and zucchinis,
Yeah.
and I don't know if cucumbers are classified as a culinary fruit or whatever, or a culinary
Yeah.
vegetable. But yeah, I've been trying to just keep it more simple and eat more fruit and just
Amazing.
keep it as
I,
natural as I can. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's special because mostly I think we can't even find raw nuts so easily. They're processed in some or the other way. Coconut is not probably, but yeah,
Mhm.
I also felt like change in my health and energy when I use nuts. So I'm also like off it, and it's like it's special
Yeah.
when a chef also cares about the health and doesn't compromise with the health
Yeah.
aspect of it just because people want to eat certain kind of food. And I think, yeah, like having more and more fruit is definitely a healthier way to go. So that's amazing. That's pretty good. And we were also talking about like how easy it is for you to get produce, because where you live, you said that it's only
Yeah.
2 months of summers and like nothing is growing and everything is imported.
Yeah.
And you are lucky that you're getting organic food. Actually, where I live, it's so difficult to find organic produce. If I want to
Yeah.
consistently get it, it's very difficult. In India, the laws are so strange and like no one really cares. So would
Mhm.
you like to share also like how do you feel cold? Do you feel cravings because the weather is like that? And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's kind of funny. I don't really feel cravings in the winter. It's kind of
yeah,
funny. I don't know if
wow,
that's just because I'm like a different type of person that doesn't worry about the winter, or I don't
yeah,
get super cold in the winter. But
yes,
like honestly, since I've been raw in the 17 years that I've been raw, there's probably been maybe a handful of times, maybe 4, maybe even 5 times that I have had cooked food.
wow,
Um,
amazing.
and like probably just one meal at a time. And part of that's because I've never really decided, oh, I have to be raw for, a certain amount of time, or I'm not really trying to prove anything to myself. I just know that I feel so much better on raw food.
Yeah,
So I just stay raw, and that's all the food,
yeah,
basically all I want to eat. But I
yeah,
have had food a handful of times, and I don't think any of those times have been in the winter ever.
yeah, wow,
So I think one time, I know it was springtime, maybe around May, late May,
yeah,
but um and yeah, it's kind of interesting because when I first became raw, I think I was raw for a couple of years before people started bringing the idea of eating cooked food in the winter up and asking me, oh, do you get cravings in the winter for cooked food? And I was just like, no, actually, no, it's never even really crossed my mind.
yeah,
But I think it's just because I feel so much better on raw food.
yeah,
And the first couple winters that I was raw, and even when I was getting into raw food, so um, I think there was at least a couple years that I was getting into raw food before I became completely raw.
yeah,
Uh, I basically I was still learning to be raw, so um, where was I going with that? Um, yeah, basically, I hadn't even thought of um, temperature
the
even
cravings.
affecting being raw. Yeah, or craving raw in the winter. So it was,
Nice, nice. And as you said that you also get like the fruits that you want to get. It's not difficult, right? I mean, I also think that your hair looks like really good and thick. Um, and what do you think? Like, it helped you with your health? Were there any health problems that you had? What if you had to like share how it has, helped with your energy? How would you describe it for the people?
definitely helped for skateboarding, for snowboarding.
Wow,
Um, when I first started getting into raw food, I was learning qigong and tai chi,
wow,
and yeah, and just getting active, exercising a lot. Um, so it's definitely been a big improvement. Just from day one of becoming vegan, I felt
yeah,
healthier and was just more active, I think.
yeah.
But
I think
there's
you're like very lucky that you got to know about veganism and then raw veganism at a very early age, and then you've done it for so long already. Most of the people probably like get into it. Even for me, was because I was not feeling healthy enough. Like I didn't
yeah,
have any like big problems, but there were like these minor problems that I was just not happy with,
yeah,
because I'd like to. Of course, we like good health, and then with the food that we eat, it doesn't come. uh, and
yeah.
how has your teeth been like since then? Is your teeth good? Because a lot of people have problems with fruits,
I've
they
had a
say.
few cavities. So I knocked my front tooth out when I was 11 years old on a water slide. So that that's kind of taking care of that.
Yeah,
But other than that, I've had a couple cavities. my wisdom teeth coming in was a bad thing, but that started before I became vegan. So, but overall pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I noticed, so before I became vegan, I noticed that my digestion wasn't not like even close to as good as it was after being vegan. So when I became vegan, all of a sudden my stomach felt so good, and I was always like happier after having a meal. So that was a big improvement. My skin definitely changed. I had acne before, like not super bad acne, but like bad enough that it was noticeable. The difference between being not vegan and vegan was a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
For me also, my skin like improved a lot. Like I can see it has changed completely. I also had like mild acne coming here and there, and now it like just sometimes I still have a little bit of detox, but it's completely different from what I used to have. And then overall
yeah,
skin has become so much better. Like thank God, man. I feel very blessed for it.
yeah.
uh, yeah. And so you were with your teeth, the cavities, like, did they come before you were vegan, or like after you became raw vegan? And then what do you do for your teeth? How do you take care of your teeth?
I think I've had one cavity since I've been raw vegan.
Yeah.
And there's one other tooth that got impacted from my wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
That's not really the best. It's probably a cavity, but um, and yeah, so I guess I've had two cavities since I've been vegan. Um, Probably one cavity before I was vegan. So I think sugars like have like brushing your teeth is really important. I
Yeah.
use a type of toothpaste called Jason's toothpaste,
Okay.
and it's super, super good. And this stuff called Jason's mouthwash,
Okay.
um, which they stopped selling actually. So I'm now using a different brand, but it's only uh, fluoride free
Free.
mouthwash
Okay.
that's all medicinal and all herbal,
Yeah.
with things like
Nice.
cinnamon, clove, gold bond,
Amazing.
um, things like that. Probably ginger, but
Yeah.
yeah, and just brush my teeth lots. So I think it's
Yes.
important
Yeah.
to brush your teeth a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah. I also
not just sugar too. Yeah,
yeah. Yes, I also had like a little bit of teeth problems before I became vegan, because of course we are eating all these sugars and processed food, and my gums were not feeling very good before I was
yeah,
a raw vegan, and they have been very, very good, but I still like sometimes have like some sensitivity in my teeth, and also I've been doing oil pulling,
yeah,
and that has been like helpful as well.
yeah. I've
Yeah.
heard good things about it. Yeah,
Yeah, but I think
I
teeth
think
can
I've
heal as well.
tried it.
Yeah. You haven't tried it yet, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And anything else that you'd like to share about your journey, about your recipes, anything that comes off your mind?
Well, I definitely do have a lot of fun with my recipes, and have a lot of fun with raw food. And you
Yeah.
can check out my page on Instagram. It's enzyme.333 on Instagram. And yeah, I've got like all sorts of sandwiches and cookies and cakes, and um my message is basically just have fun with raw food, and just learn all the different things you can do, even if you're doing a more simplistic type way of eating, you can always make something fun that's going to taste good, that's going to be different, and exciting, and make you like want to stick to the lifestyle. So yeah, that's basically my thing, is just making delicious food and having fun with it, and just
Yeah,
showing other people that they can have fun with raw food as well, and to more
yeah,
come at it from like from a positive perspective, rather than, oh, I'm on this like new weird diet and it's all restrictive and I can't eat what I want. And there's
yeah,
two ways to look at it. You
yeah,
can either hate raw food because you can't have your burger or your seafood or whatever, right? Or you can love raw food because it's exciting and it's a new way to eat, and there's just so much nutrients and so many different amazing foods, different varieties of foods that people like, that I know that I didn't eat before I became vegan.
yeah,
I'm probably
yeah,
eating a bigger spectrum of nutrients now than I was back then, just eating, what do meat eaters eat? Like rice, pork, beef, lamb, fish. It's not really that diverse,
yeah,
but we're eating, all these different types of fruits and vegetables in more variety and more quantity than we probably were before we were vegan. So yeah.
yeah. Certainly, yeah. I would certainly agree. Like so many colors, and it has like the water that we need, the hydration that we really, really need. We need 70% at least our body's made up of that. And the normal food that we eat definitely doesn't have that. So nutrition, hydration, just like ease of digestion, everything is there in the raw food. So one last question that I'd like to ask you is in what other ways do you maintain your mental, physical, and spiritual hygiene? So, because I think you also
Yeah.
mentioned, like, it's like so linked with living a natural lifestyle that you have. And then you're doing skateboarding and snowboarding. And what other ways do you maintain your health and physical and spiritual mental well-being?
I would say I do qigong, so
Awesome.
breathing,
Yeah,
tai chi.
yeah,
I train a little bit of wushu from the same style as the tai chi and the qigong that I do,
yeah,
and that's been a really important part of my life for the past 15 years or so.
yeah.
And then skateboarding, of course, snowboarding, being out in nature. So I live in a national park, so I'm lucky. So I can just be in, I can walk 5 minutes in each direction and I'll be in beautiful
Wow.
mountain trails, and
Wow.
it's just gorgeous. But basically just trying to be out in nature and take advantage of the nature and scenery and beauty that I have around me,
Yes.
and trying to be on the ski hill as much as I can. We have gorgeous, gorgeous ski hills all surrounding me. So I try to ride those as much as I can, basically. And yeah, and then just spirituality is a big part of my life. Just having a close relationship with God, and um, having a simple life, like a simple life that's focused around food and well-being. Um, Pretty much that, really. I mean, just
Yeah.
the simple
Yeah, that
life, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're a very one of person that, like, we would find in the world. You're like really healthy and very calm, and I'm so grateful that I came across your channel, because you're not like posting so many videos and coming out there with your lifestyle. But it's amazing that you're doing so many healthy practices. You're so close to nature, and I can feel it. I can feel it with your vibration and the way you speak, the calmness that you have, and the gentleness and the loving feeling that you have in yourself, that the food and the lifestyle that you've chosen for yourself is like benefiting you so much. And I'm
Mhm.
so grateful and thankful that you just like came out, and then you're sharing your experience to reach out more people. Yeah, thank you so much. Like I do feel very lucky that I just like came on your page because you're sharing your recipes, and I will definitely
Mhm.
like give like shout outs for your recipes so that more people can find them, because also you're putting in your
Yeah,
the healthy side to it as well in the recipes, and they look great. They really look amazing. So
thank
thank you so
you.
much. Anything else in the end, if you want to share, you can just like go ahead and uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
say
Oh,
it
yeah.
out.
My recipes are in my Instagram, in
Yeah.
the link in my bio. So that's
Yes.
the easiest way to find them.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's been really exciting talking to you about raw food. It's really fun. I don't get to talk about raw food enough, 'cause you know how it is, right? You're not always
Yeah.
around other raw
Yeah.
vegans. So it's exciting to actually talk to another raw vegan and just get excited about it and
Yeah. Yes.
you know just share experiences, right? Because it's so different where you are in India compared to where I am in North America. Just night and day difference. It's still winter here. We're still
Yeah.
under 6 feet of snow. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's neat.
Yeah. It's summer out here. Well, I'm living in the mountains, still wearing a jacket, but still it's like hot. If I go out in the sun, it feels very hot. And
Yeah,
yeah, and it's been a really good pleasure for me to like find you and talk to you and share experience with you,
yeah,
because I really think we need more and more people who are so grounded and centered in their lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, and they believe in like so many different things that are available for us to live a healthy lifestyle. And I'm on a mission to like really spread the information about around and like raise the consciousness of the planet through
yeah,
people like you. So thank you so much more. Thank you so
yeah.
much everyone, yeah, for watching the interview, and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and do like check him out, do check his recipes out, follow his Instagram channel, and if you like the recipes, of course go ahead and buy and make some amazing raw vegan food for yourself.